What's going on, everybody? My name's Alex, and today is March 14th, and happy St. Patrick's Day if you're out celebrating it today. Don't get too hungover, please. But today's video is about the power of self reflection on your mindset and confidence. So, I wanted to talk about this today because this is a problem that I've kind of struggled with throughout my life. I kind of don't really take the time to take a step away and see what I've done throughout my life. And it can lead to really bad episodes of depression for me. So I just want to help anybody that's kind of struggling with that thinks they're not really doing a lot in life. Because if you sit down and self reflect, I'm sure you can point out a lot of things that you've done in your life. So if you don't know what self reflection is, it's pretty much just taking a look at yourself and seeing what you're happy about and what you're unhappy about. So, like your choices you make, the way you react to things, um, how you feel about certain things. This includes all of these things. It's just taking a look at your whole life pretty much and seeing what goes right and what goes wrong and how you feel about that at the end of the day. So now that we have a good idea of what self reflection is, how can this relate to boosting your confidence and giving you a sense of purpose and making sure that you're doing the right things in life and et cetera, yada, yada, yada. So, if you're not familiar with the term self serving bias, that's pretty much when somebody focuses more on their losses rather than their wins. And they kind of dwell on that and ruminate on their losses more rather than focusing on their wins. And I feel like this is a very common problem for a lot of people today with social media. And even I struggle with this. People will start scrolling and then they see all these people doing better in their life, like doing way better than they are in life. And then they'll start to think that they're inadequate compared to this person they see on social media. So then they start focusing on their losses rather than their small wins. And it's very vital to focus on those small wins because that is how you build confidence. So what self-reflecting does is it helps you point out the small wins that you can identify and that will allow you to build confidence rather than losses. So self-reflection also does involve looking at the losses too because that is important, but you want to focus more on the wins more. So if you are struggling with self-confidence and you think that you're not doing anything in life, I want you to make a list of the top 20 biggest things that you have accomplished in the last 4 years. And I really think you'll surprise yourself with how much you've done. And it doesn't even have to be big accomplishments, just little accomplishments if you haven't done a lot in your life at this point. So I want you to do that and then really take a look at what you've done and think about it for a while and don't dwell on it that much. And then I want you also to do the same thing with 20 of the biggest failures you've had over the last 4 years. And then I want you to make a plan for each failure of how you can be better moving forward from that failure. And I think you'll gain a lot of progress doing that because you'll know exactly what you need to do with the failures and you'll know exactly what is going right with the accomplishments so far in your life. And when you do self reflect, I want you to look at the losses or the failures as learning lessons. So let's say that you're an athlete and you failed to make a catch at a football game or something. So instead of saying, I'm not good enough to play at this position to make these catches, you should say, what can I do in the future to make that catch? So something that you may do to like practice better is go throw the ball, go practice catching more or something like that. Just making a plan to make yourself better in the future rather than just being mad and gloomy that you failed and thinking that you can never get past this point again and get better. And you also have to remember that somebody is doing way worse in life than you. And I know people hear that a lot and it doesn't really get them anywhere with their confidence, but you need to understand that there's been people in worse positions in you and they've pulled themselves out of ruts that are probably way worse. So you need to think about that as well. And you need to really, really have a lot of self belief in yourself. So, what can you take away from this video after watching this whole thing through? One, do not ruminate on your failures more than your wins. Look at your failures as learning lessons and make a plan to get better from those failures in the future. Two, if you are feeling not confident in yourself and that you've done nothing in your life, make a list of 20 of the biggest things that you've done in the last 4 years. It doesn't even have to be the last 4 years, too. It can be any amount of time, but I think 4 years is a good window of time because it's not too big, but it's also big enough to where you can accomplish a lot of projects in that time span and get a lot of things done. Like high school is 4 years, college is 4 years. It's a good window of time to measure things and accomplishments, in my opinion. Um, so those are the biggest takeaways I want you to take away from this video. And just remember that you're on a journey and everybody's at their own pace and you might not be anywhere today, but that doesn't mean you won't be somewhere tomorrow if you take the steps you need to do today. And if you're feeling like you can't do anything, please, please, please look at what you've already done and then take that energy and move forward, please. Because I feel like this is such a big problem in today's society that people are not confident enough in themselves to really get what they want out of life. So, anyways, I hope everybody has a great St. Patrick's Day and a great weekend, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.